What I want to speak about is what it looks like to allow the authentic essence of us to come forward. What does it take for that to happen? Another way of saying that is, how do we live our purpose? How do we live our mission? How do we be who we're meant to be here in the world? And so one phrase that I use to look at this is, what would it take for us to have the experience of being the right person in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing in the right way and for the right reason? Now, will you grant me that that's one way to look at how you might assess whether or not you're living your mission or living your purpose? Fair enough? Does it sound fair enough? So being the right person, what does that mean? So oftentimes we tend to look at ourselves, because this is how we've been taught to think of ourselves, as broken people trying to glue the pieces back together. People who are limited, that are damaged, that are traumatized from our past. And we're trying our best to throw off the shackles of that and put the pieces back together. Now that to me is not being the right person. What it means to be the right person in this way is that we begin to embrace and see ourselves as a spark of the divine, as a point of attention in the mind of God who's living here in this human body at this time. And part of living in this human body is that we have accumulated, or we have taken on, pain, limitation, profound conditioning that keeps us stuck, down, doubting ourselves, lacking confidence. That seems to be part and parcel of being here in this human body, having this experience. But being the right person means that is not who I am. I am a spark of God, a point of attention in the mind of God, here living through this vessel and through all of this conditioning and unresolved trauma. And it is my responsibility to do the work necessary to release myself from it. That to me is being the right person. In the right place. Oftentimes we think that whatever it is in our life, this situation, this person, this whatever, this way of thinking, this job, this isn't it. Whatever this is that's causing us trouble, this isn't it. This isn't the right thing. This isn't the right place. I'm not at the right place in my life. So that when we're practicing being the right person, we can take on that we are in exactly the right place, right here, right now, with this situation, with exactly what is going on. Because we are the spark of the divine that's come to be here in this body to release us from the limitations that seem to be inherent in living in this planet at this time and in this body. And we're doing the work to release ourselves. Where do we find that work? Right here, right now. So it is literally possible, no matter what is in your experience at that moment or whatever situation you're in, to relate to it that I am the right person and I'm in the right place right now. Even with this shitty thing that I hope doesn't continue in my life. Yes, sirree. At the right time. So what if we were to assume that right here, right now, being the right person in the right place, that there's absolutely nothing missing, that the passing of time is not going to bring anything additional that's going to help us right now, that there is no limitation whatsoever in this time. that everything that you need in order to deal with this situation that you're in is right here at this time. So if you take that on, you realize, okay, I'm here making my way out of this deep conditioning. This situation, exactly as it is what there is to do, where there is to be. And there's no more time needed for me to begin to address it now, to begin to have the next step available to me now. So will different things come? Could things happen that's different with time? You betcha. You betcha. But how many times do we put off into the future some possibility that we feel like can't happen right now? Because we're not the right person in the right place at the right time. Who we are is a process. We're a process of unconditioning, unlimiting, unlocking, unleashing the spark of the divine that we are. It's a process. And we're always the right person at the right place at the right time. Doing the right thing. What is the right thing? There's two things I want to talk about here. One is not just assuming that the way we're told, what we believed yesterday or last week, what other people tell us is the right thing. Daring to be in touch with ourselves in our own experience right now. And being willing, daring to be so in our own skin in this present moment, open to assessing, open to feeling, open to experiencing what the right thing is to do. Now, in theory, at least, you can grant to me, okay, that's possible. In practice, for most of us, this is a challenge, and there's work to do here so that we can get better and better at better of being in our own skin, in our own body, not in our mind, not in some triggered past, not in some frightened future, but here in our own skin in the moment to be able to assess that. Yes, there's likely a lot of work that can be done to get better at that. However, we are a process. So whatever we got now, that's what we got to work with. The alternative is continuing to believe the same old story from the same old people, whether they live out here or they live in here. Being the right person in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing in the right way. What I'm going to offer to you as the right way is in the idea of being self-partnered, of being there for ourselves, with ourselves, being the one to ourselves that's always there and says, I gotcha. Because can you imagine the things that I'm speaking about could be challenging? You betcha. They're immensely challenging. It's why not so many people live in this way. It's not just a matter of not knowing it or not having heard it, but this is an entirely different way of relating to our experience and living our life. So in the right way means we're always there for ourselves. We are always there for ourselves. And when we're not, we're working on it. Wherever we're at in that process, we're still the right person in the right place at the right time. As a process of unfolding, getting better and better, of being there for ourselves, to support ourselves, to love ourselves, to tell ourselves we can do it, to be the kinds of parents, the parental archetypes that are needed to support us in the right way is you with you saying, I got you. and for the right reason. Oftentimes, we are acting out of reasons of trying to overcome something, or trying to prove or to be something that in the moment we're not. We're trying to meet someone else's needs or expectations. Oftentimes, the reason that we're doing what we're doing is to serve a real or perceived desire, need, agenda, requirement of something out there. And oftentimes at the expense of ourselves. This, I would say, is for the wrong reason. So doing something for the right reason is because in our own hearts, we're living in accordance to our own deepest sense of our own values, of what's important to me. Now, I can do something which helps to take care of the needs or concerns of somebody else from my own sense of values and what's important to me, which are not based on conditioned past or some false belief that that's what I need to do in order to be loved. So for the right reason is to be the right person, a spark of the divine here living through this human body, dealing with all of the challenges that come with the acquisition of karma, of conditioning, of old trauma that the human goes through, in the right place. That whatever it is here at the right time, right here and right now, without needing any time to pass or to be someplace else, is right here where I'm meant to be. Doing the right thing, trusting, feeling, sensing, using my own self on all of the levels to which I've become aware of at this moment in time, at this place that I'm at. Accessing that to know what there is to do right now in the right way, supporting myself, loving myself, holding myself when it's challenging, when it's hard, when I need some encouragement for the right reason, because it's what I deeply believe is the expression of the essence of me in this moment. So if you play with this idea of living the life that we're meant to live, living my purpose, living my mission, living who I authentically am, is possible in every single moment. And as we practice these things, the outpicturing of that spark of the divine that we are becomes more and more brilliant, more and more bright, more and more full, self-expressed, confident, knowing that it knows what it's doing here. So, I hope you find this helpful. Because there's lots of other places we want to be in our lives, feeling differently, having different things in our lives. That's fine. That's great. Nothing wrong with it at all. However, the challenge is, how are we going to be as we're making our way there? We can continue to buy into all of this belief structure that lives in us, that isn't us, that we're not yet the right person. This isn't yet the right place. It's not quite the right time. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Is this the right way? I'm not even sure why I'm doing it. Or we could be making our way to having this life that we feel is in us, calling us, and we can go about it the exact same process, except completely differently, because we can do it having the experience of being the right person in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing in the right way and for the right reason. You see? So have some fun and play with this. Play with it. This is something to practice, but it will completely change the experience that you have as you're moving forward in your life, pulling yourself out of all the limitations. And it will also have a dramatic effect on where you end up.